Welcome into the Rundown with Caleb and Casey. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024, and we are back in the studio this week, Casey. Back on the YouTube as well, which is huge. First time since October 24th we've been back in here, so feels good. This has kind of become our new home. And how are you doing, my friend? How's it going?
It's fantastic. Rain went away today, but we are back. Been a busy couple weeks of sports watching. That's the thing. Deep into football, starting to get deep into basketball as well. Invitationals coming up. We are just all over it.
I was just about to say, next week's going to get even more busy. And that's how we love it. We're
wait.
sickos. We're sickos. Yeah, it's going to be really good. Like, college basketball really elevates itself next week. And then, I mean, some of the best football games of the year for both levels. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're about to Thanksgiving here. We're about a year and 2 months into this pod, Casey. Isn't that crazy?
Love it.
Going crazy. Averaging a good amount of listens per episode too. We're starting to, like, we were on a steady incline really through the first probably 7 or 8 months, and then summer hit and it was kind of pretty leveled for a while, and then came back here, and now we're back on the uptick again. So that's great.
Oh yeah.
Let's start as always with our weekly Cyclone football talk, and then we'll get into a lot of stuff on the Big 12 front. Tiebreaker scenarios specifically are crazy right now. College football in general. I think we both have some thoughts on the CFP rankings as of right now. They come out. The new ones come out tonight, so this will be a little bit dated on that front. So we won't spend too much time on that. But we'll do our picks as always. We'll do the 3 for 3, and then we'll go. So Iowa State football, like I said, Clones get back on track this week with a 34 to 17 victory over the Cincinnati Bearcats to improve to 8-2 on the season. Back in the rankings now at number 22. This was a must-win game, right? This was a game where your back is against the wall. You've lost 2 straight. A lot of criticism. And I thought, it was still kind of a sloppy game at times, but I thought the guys, both the coaches, the players, responded pretty well, all things considered.
Definitely. They came out firing. Defense was kind of the strong suit, as it usually is with Iowa State. We really leaned into our defense. No more than 7 points allowed.
With the exception of the previous week.
Yeah, that's just Kansas for you. No more than 7 points allowed in a single quarter. 7-3, 0-7. I thought the defense was much better. There was kind of some speculation going around, is this defense back? Is Haycock, is he as good as he once was after the kind of weeks that Iowa State was having? But I think this was a really good bounce-back game. Granted, it's not a great Cincinnati team, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, and to come out and have a big win and control the game all the way through, it was very important to get Iowa State back on the right track.
Absolutely. I mean, defensively it helped. Got Will McLaughlin back for the first time this year. That was huge. To have a guy in there who was supposed to be a day one starter this year, I mean, he was going to be probably the second best guy in that linebacking core aside from Caleb Bacon, who obviously is out for the year. But he came back. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't sure what his status was, but he was back. Certainly still a little bit banged up, but it was good to see him. And then, 3 guys that didn't play last weekend against Kansas, Malik Verdone, Dom Orange, Jacob Ellis, all played. I thought Dom Orange played maybe his best game of his career at Iowa State. He had one drive where he made all 3 tackles to force a 3 and out, including a sack. So got guys back on all 3 levels of that defense, and that showed just some much-needed bodies to relieve some of those younger guys that are just inexperienced and have been in the wrong position a lot the last couple weeks, which is why you've seen big outputs from Kansas, from UCF, from Texas Tech. Offensively, it took the offense a little bit to get going again, but they made the plays when it mattered. I thought that the Tyson Veit deal, where Iowa State's linebackers coach for the longest time, DC for Cincinnati this year, I thought that did play a little bit of a role. You could just tell Cincinnati was very expectant as to what Iowa State was going to run.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, they played well, eventually kind of opened the floodgates. Rocco Beck did a lot on his feet again.
Mm-hmm.
He finds a way to be a good scrambler at times. And a good amount of read option from him as well, quarterback keepers. Just really a game where it didn't look pretty for a lot of it, but they got the victory. able to leave no doubt there at the end. And really, at this point, that's all that matters, right? You're trying to get yourself in a position where if other teams lose, you can get to that Big 12 championship, and it starts with you winning football games, right? Doesn't matter how the rest of it plays out.
Yeah, another thing was Abu Sama kind of leading the team in rushing. I feel like he's starting to get it going once again. This is when we saw him start to step in last year when the other guys decided, Norton wanted to transfer out, and I already forgot the other guy's name.
Eli Sanders.
Eli Sanders, UNLV, or New Mexico, sorry. When they started to step out and want to hit the transfer portal, this is the time of year where Sama stepped up, and maybe he's just that guy late November. Maybe he may not be a big factor for us any other part of the season, but you give it to him in late November. He's starting to hit his stride more. 12 carries, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Granted, that's not a whole lot, but, you get 4 per carry. He leads the team in carries compared to Carson Hansen, who's kind of been our go-to guy. 9 carries, 11 yards, 1 touchdown. At the end of the day, Sama's getting his feet underneath him. He's getting back to what we thought he would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. I think Sama and Hansen have kind of taken the reins as that kind of 1-2 punch at this point. I think Jalen Jackson has kind of fallen well into that third-place role, which is fine. He still sees the field a lot, but usually he's a third down back. He's a pass-catching back at this point, which is fine. I mean, a guy with that skill set might be better in that spot anyway. I think that's a good point. And Hansen, to me, seems like he's still a little bit on a pitch count.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still a little bit banged up. I think he went down in that Texas Tech game, or maybe it might have been the UCF game. I'm not sure. But
I think it was UCF.
He went down at one point, yeah. It hasn't really been the same since. Hasn't played near as much either. So we'll see if he can get back to being his full self. I don't even know if you call it an injury. I think it's more of like he's dealing with something that's kind of nagging at him, preventing him from playing as much as he usually does. We'll see if that changes at all. But, yeah, I mean, ultimately, good win for the Cyclones. By the way, second year in a row that Iowa State has successfully run a fake against Cincinnati.
True.
So last year was the Chase Contreras fake field goal. This year they brought out all the stops in the fake punt.
Yeah.
Even got, I don't know if you saw it, got a Matt Campbell smirk on the sideline.
I did see
that. Once a year. Hilarious. That is a once-a-year thing. And it happened after the fake punt. I mean, I haven't seen a fake punt from Iowa State in probably at least 10 years. The Paul Rhodes era. I mean, they do it all the time. But, yeah, that was crazy. And it was like such an odd time, too. It was like they had a comfortable lead, right?
Yeah.
But, they saw an opening, I guess, caught them off guard. And, yeah, nobody in the house saw that one coming.
No. Another thing was Brett Eskildson.
Oh, yeah, good point.
True freshman from Frisco, Texas. 2 receptions for 17 yards. His first receptions of his career. That's a guy that I don't even think we said the name of preseason. Like, just
not, yeah.
Way over our head. But good for him. 2 receptions, 17 yards, getting it done, getting quality reps at the end of the day. And, in a spot where we're going to lose Higgins, we're going to lose Noel next year. He stepped up. He looked decent. So continue to improve that role, and maybe some guy we see more out of next year.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout-out to the tight ends quick as well. They've taken some heat in recent weeks, especially with Bramer hurt. Burkle has and Tyler Moore both kind of struggled. Steve O'Klotz has been banged up, so he hasn't been his usual self, but they played awesome on Saturday. Burkle, 6 grabs for 73 yards. Bigger thing with him, though, was he was a great blocker on Saturday, and he hasn't been that. That's been the biggest knock, is he's struggled in the pass protection, struggled in run blocking. He was much better. Steve-O looked healthy on Saturday. Caught a touchdown pass, too. They finally, because they tried that one against Kansas, and Rocco just airmailed it in the end zone. Tried that play again, though. He was wide open.
Yeah.
Rocco completed the pass. That was awesome. And then Steve-O also, I mean, when he's healthy, he's a beast in the run blocking game. So those tight ends played a lot better, and that's, I think, part of the reason why Iowa State's offense was a lot more efficient.
I would definitely have to agree with that. Now, is Ben Bramer, is he out for sure? Like, there's so much that I feel like just hasn't been said. I think he posted something on his social media, but I didn't look at it.
It was some NIL I think like Flying J Truck Stop. He gave like a shout out to them because they're an NIL partner, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that works. I didn't know. I just saw that he had put something up on his Twitter, and I was like,
yes.
I didn't have time to check into it, but I was like,
it was a little bit scary at first because he was like, it looked like he was being endearing to like Iowa State, like, what does this mean? What's going on here? And then you read through it, and he's saying, thanks to Pilot Flying J for always being a reliable place to stop when we're out on the road.
Yeah.
So just
Because
Just an IL.
I got the notification and it read like the top part of it and it was like, "Thank you so much to Iowa State. I love my time here," or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, great! What is he saying?
What does this mean?"
Is he about to go back and play for Nebraska next year? Are they just about to have an elite tight end room?" So hopefully, and Campbell's not coming out saying a whole lot about the injury, just saying that it's less severe than they think. But at the end of the day, we don't know what it means. He hasn't worn pads in 3 weeks now. He's just been in street clothes and on crutches. So, guy you kind of have to have back if you want a shot at winning the Big 12 this year, in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on Twitter here. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking. Nobody said anything about his injury. I think Matt's press conference was today. Maybe could be tomorrow. Usually it's on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the injury report is right now across the board. If anything new is this
I don't even
week, but
think they've said what the injury is.
right, yeah. Usually, I guess he did have his press conference today. J.R. Singleton's status is up in the air. He went down against Cincinnati, which was a bummer. I mean, this defense just can't catch a break injury-wise.
No.
It's unbelievable. But, again, like we said, silver lining, you got McLaughlin back, and then Dom Orange, Verdone, Jacob Ellis, they were all out for most of that Kansas game, all came back as well, so that was huge. So, yeah, I think J.R. Singleton, as of right now, is kind of that guy on defense we're monitoring. And then, yeah, I'm not seeing anything offensively on Bramer. So,
yeah,
keep an eye on that. But, yep, good win for the Cyclones. Back on track, right?
Yep.
8-2. You go to Utah this weekend, favored by 7.5. Another night game, 6:30 kick. I think we're getting some night game fatigue. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How many night games? Are you getting tired of it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's the same thing off and on, and I was kind of not feeling the alternate uniforms last weekend. Like, I get it. Night game, wear the dark uniforms, but like, when was the last time we wore our school colors at home? Was it like week 2, week 3?
We actually did against Texas Tech.
Oh,
yeah,
that
we wore
game
the red and white. We wore the red and white for that one.
Oh yeah,
but
we
it was
did.
it was a day kick. Yeah,
it was a day kick.
Yeah.
It was abysmal weather.
Yeah,
I was at coach.
I know what you mean. I see the.
We haven't worn the yellow pants yet.
Yes, and I hope they do this weekend.
Yeah.
Cyclone Equipment posted a very cryptic tweet earlier, as they always do. It's so funny. So we'll see what they
Watch
run out
them
with.
announce
Maybe
all white.
Dude, that'd be sweet. They haven't done that in so long. Maybe they go with the gold helmet, red script Cyclones, the actual ones that they wore back in the 80s. Those would be hype with the yellow pants.
I don't think they will.
Probably
I think
not
they'll
for a
go
road game. They won't go
red,
like alternate for a road game.
red
but
helmet, white jersey, yellow pants.
I think so too.
I think
as
that's
was announced back in the spring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like what everyone's been
combo.
expecting.
Yeah.
And then when we come home, wear like red, yellow.
Sure.
Or something like that. Or
Yeah.
bring back the white helmets with the red face masks.
Those are good. They also, back in 2017, they wore these like chrome red helmets for the Liberty Bowl. They were
Yeah.
sweet. And then never used them again. I don't know why. Unbelievable.
Or wear navy while we're at it. Come on, guys.
Casey's a big Navy truther.
Until I die, I will be telling them to wear navy.
I also get the knock on the uniforms too. I think like the school colors wear them more. But at the same time, I think there is something to be said about the fact that these guys and these coaches just love the black uniforms. Yeah. Like it gets them amped up. Back in 2020 when they went to the Big 12 Championship, they wore the black uniforms, I think, every home game, including the Fiesta Bowl. and the Big 12 Championship too.
And
so it was like every game that year. Except for away games, obviously. But, yeah, I get it, too. I hope that we see the gold pants this week.
Yeah.
Because it's about time.
I just like when the uniforms like that are special. Like,
sure.
It's a one-off kind of thing. Or, like, if you want to wear it again in a bowl game or a championship, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when they have more, like, you wear the all-black jerseys, you have the blackout this week. You wear the all-white jerseys, you have the whiteout this week, and they're done for the year.
Right.
Like, have that special occasion. Wear our home. We got, like, 30 different combos to go with our red, white, and yellow between the helmets, the jerseys, and the pants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, switch it up. Give us some different looks.
Yeah, I agree with that. 6:30 kick in Salt Lake City. Again, another night game. Luckily, though, it's not that just abysmal 9:15 p.m. kick or 9:30 kick.
Or the 11
Kansas
kickoff.
had that one against BYU, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even stay up to catch the end of it. I was too tired.
That was a good one to catch, though.
I know.
I don't think I caught it either, but yeah.
I woke up, caught the end of the UFC fight on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
And then that was my morning on Sunday.
Yeah. We'll certainly get to that Kansas BYU game in a little bit, but
yeah.
Utah's been a disaster this year. I mean, I can't say I'm complaining about it. I think it's funny. They thought they were going to come in and run this league. Those elitist fans with their pinkies in the air, we're better than the Big 12. We deserve better than this. And they are a one win in the conference team right now. And I think it serves them right.
Yep. To their credit, a team from Utah is running the Big 12.
This
Just
is
not
true.
them.
Nope.
And at the end of the day,
it's their rival.
They're getting little brothered. They kind of deserve it. They had it coming for everything this offseason. They got housed last week against Colorado.
Yeah,
I think our only thing is, like, at least the only thing that I think is you just got to do your assignments at the end of the day. Don't look forward to Kansas State because you have to win both games to make it now into the Big 12 championship.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't look past this game. Just go and do it. Everyone does their assignments. You kind of do what you're expected to do, and you should walk out of this pretty unscathed, in my opinion.
I think it's funny because Utah's lost 6 straight games. Their one conference win was the first one of the year at Oklahoma State. And I remember us sitting right here that week and being like, oh my gosh, game of the week in the Big 12. This is huge.
Yeah.
Like, this determines so much in terms of conference implications, and now those are the 2 worst teams in the league.
It did determine a lot.
Yes.
It determined
It gave Utah the edge over Okie State for the worst team in the conference.
Yep.
Wow.
And that holds a lot.
But yeah, I think this is, like you said, in my opinion, this is the best matchup for Iowa State over all the games in the month of November. So going back to Texas Tech, this is a better matchup than Tech, Kansas, Cincinnati, K-State, I think, because this Utah team just can't move the ball. And, Iowa State's defense, while they got better this past week, they were still, they're still banged up, right? Still kind of depleted. I was happy. There was they used the 4-man front a lot this weekend, Iowa State did, which I thought helped a bunch. It alleviated those linebackers quite a bit, helped them out. And you had some D linemen having really good games. Dom Orange, like we mentioned, Zamir Hawk played really well. Joey Peterson. So, I think this is a good matchup for Iowa State. Offensively, Utah is really, really bad. They got a good defense, so that's one thing to
What are you talking about? They got the younger brother of elite NFL quarterback Zach Wilson out there. True freshman Isaac Wilson
playing at the other Utah school.
More interceptions than touchdowns. This should be a huge day for Cooper, Verdone.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
That's an interesting program right now because Whittingham and his staff are taking a lot of heat for the way they just kind of gaslighted those fans into thinking that, Cam Rising was healthy, he's progressing, he's healthy. And then, his injury. There's a lot of bad blood right now between the fans and the coaching staff. It's interesting. I'm fascinated to see where that future goes. But, I don't think there's too much to take from here. It's an away game. It won't be easy, but it's a good matchup for Iowa State.
Yeah, at the end of the day, just do what you should do. That's really all we can say about this. Like, the games that Iowa State has won, they just kind of do what they have to do at the end of the day. Nothing crazy. And this is no different. It's a worse team than you. There's nothing special. Your secondary should have a field day. Your O-line and your D-line have the advantage even when they're banged up. Like, just go in there, do the things you're supposed to do. Just do your job, right? Don't try and do anything special. Don't, try and cakewalk it. Just do your job, and we'll move on to K-State.
Amen. Well, let's transition the conversation then into the broader Big 12 conversation as, man, Casey, things are really starting to heat up. I feel like we say that every week, but it holds true.
2 weeks left.
It holds true each week following because this conference continues to just be more and more crazy by the week. The tiebreaker scenarios right now are unbelievable. It is ridiculous what this conference could come down to. I mean, the 2 teams in the Big 12 championship could come down to, some random game that was played in the month of September between, Arizona State and
Arizona?
Whoever. Yeah, somebody. Right?
Actually, no, I think they played next week.
Say, Arizona State and Cincinnati, one of those 2 teams. It could come down to that, which is unbelievable. And that's the bummer with these big conferences now, is you don't have that round robin anymore. It's not always decided on the field. It's a bummer that it's like that. And I, for one, was never a fan of divisions, so I'm still okay with that. It's more of just like the size of these conferences that really stinks because you're going to have the same thing in the SEC. The Big Ten, maybe not so much because, they very clearly have a top three, right?
Yeah.
With Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana at this point. And we'll see about that Indiana team when they finally get tested this weekend.
Yeah.
But
Did you have that in your memory, by the way, that Cincinnati and Arizona State played early in the season? Because that's what I'm impressed about. Hey, you were close. It's early October.
Really?
Arizona State loses to Cincinnati. And that actually has major implications.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes. So I threw out Arizona State because, they're a team that's in the running right now. And then, common opponent with Iowa State would be Cincinnati. I wasn't sure if they...
No, yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
Let's
they
go.
played early in October, and Arizona State lost by 10.
Okay.
On the road.
Well, that's huge then.
That's huge.
That's big time.
Great work.
So
that was fantastic.
Thank you, Casey. Appreciate it.
I'm impressed.
Bigger win for the Clones this past weekend than against Cincinnati after that one.
I went to fact check you, and I was like, oh my gosh, you actually almost nailed that. That's impressive.
What did I say, September?
Yeah.
It was October?
It was early October.
That's like, that was like the picks this week where I looked here and I saw I went 4-0 in college football and then looked at college basketball and went 0-3.
Yeah. I think, I was scared because you got a big lead on me in football, and then I came, and then in basketball, I cut it down a little.
That's how it usually goes, dude. Yeah, once basketball season comes, if I don't get a good enough lead here before it's only basketball season, it might be over for me the rest of the year.
50-50 split between football and basketball this week, Caleb.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, these tiebreakers are crazy. Have you looked at this M-Red generator, this tiebreaker generator?
I heard about it, but I haven't.
It's crazy, dude. And I think this guy's actually an Iowa State fan. I found him on Twitter, and it says "Go Cyclones." So I believe he's an Iowa State fan then. And if you guys haven't seen this yet, go look it up. M-Red generator. He does conference tiebreaker scenarios for both college football and college basketball, which is huge in today's day and age. It's really impressive the amount of analytics that go into this. This guy's really smart, really tech savvy. You basically go on and you just select a certain amount of outcomes, and then it generates what two, for example, what two Big 12 teams would make the Big 12 championship. So go check it out. I want to pull this up here because I want to.
Oh, I'm already on it.
Yeah,
I'm playing around.
Here?
Yeah.
It's giving me the basketball one right now.
Oh,
Okay.
I have
Big
got
12
an
football
Arizona State Iowa State championship.
Okay. So remaining conference games here.
That would actually be sick.
So okay, here's what exactly did you pick there? Arizona State, Iowa State, you said?
Yeah. So
You need BYU to lose out, right?
Arizona State beats BYU. BYU actually beats Houston because that gives BYU their second loss. But Arizona State has the
Tiebreaker over
tiebreaker.
BYU.
Yes. BYU and Colorado are below Arizona State based on record. So the common opponent with BYU above Colorado based on record versus common conference opponent. Iowa State is above BYU based on conference opponent win percentage being higher.
Conference opponent.
So they would have a .444 conference opponent win percentage.
Wait a second. Even though they have the same amount of losses at that point, if Iowa State wins out? This hurts
the
my brain, dude.
opponent rankings. So the teams you've played against, what their overall.
Oh,
rankings
I see.
are.
Okay, so strength of schedule at that point,
Basically.
strength of win percentage.
Yeah. So Iowa State would have .444, whereas BYU would have .3951.
Unbelievable.
But that's also saying
So you still had
that.
BYU.
That also is Kansas beating Colorado
Okay.
and Kansas beating Baylor, and then I think I have K-State losing. K-State beats Cincinnati and then loses.
So okay, yeah. So loses. Yeah.
Iowa State needs Texas Tech to go 2-0 in that scenario as well, because it gives them the bump in win percentage.
Okay.
So if Texas Tech loses
that's the deciding
out,
factor then, huh? It's the opponent win percentage when it comes to tiebreakers and not common opponents.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what the guys in the Big 12 office are doing. Are they pulled up this generator here and just filling out possibilities? I don't know. I don't even know what the criteria is after, if you haven't played each other. At one point I thought it was based on the next best common opponent, But if it's not that, then it's the win percentage, I guess.
Yeah.
Or opponent's win percentage.
I think it should be opponent win percentage first.
Probably.
If there's no
that makes more
immediate
sense.
one.
Because then,
No.
again, then it puts so much emphasis on, for instance, that results of Arizona State Cincinnati in early October,
Yeah.
which is just dumb. It should never be like that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a bummer in today's
Should
day and age.
should just have what is it? 8-man conferences, 10-man conferences, play everybody. That would be the logical thing to decide things.
If only logic existed in college sports.
Only we had
If only.
regional conferences, Caleb.
Yep.
I think that could solve
Yep.
this.
Logic hasn't existed in college sports for probably 20 years.
No. But at the end of the day,
For pretty much all of our lifetimes, unfortunately.
you're
You're 21. You were around for 1 year of logic. No, you're not.
20.
You're 20. Okay. What the heck?
Jeez, you calling me old now?
Yeah, no.
Unbelievable.
Casey maybe was around for a couple months of logic in college sports. I'm still 19, so I wasn't around for any of it.
No, I think I got like a month of it, which I was very. That's where I get all my knowledge from. That 1 month.
That
of
1 month
logic
where
still being
college
around.
sports, where everything was right in the world.
Yeah, the Southland Conference.
Of course. So, okay, Iowa State fans, you got to cheer for Kansas this weekend. Okay,
You have to.
You got to.
don't have a
call.
choice.
You got to call Rock Chalk Jayhawk because if Colorado beats Kansas this weekend, their opponent the following weekend is none other than Oklahoma State, and I just don't think that
Known football
I
program.
don't unless Matt Campbell gets Mike Gundy on the phone and says, "Hey man, we need you," and Mike Gundy fires up his squad enough to where they can find a way to down Colorado. I don't see it happening. That team, Oklahoma State being, is so beyond checked out. So again, cheer for Kansas. Kansas State doesn't matter at this point, right? Because you're expecting Iowa State to win out, right? That's what you need to have happen.
Yep.
So Kansas over Colorado, and I mean, I'm trying to figure out what the result. So if I go like this here, so we need Arizona State to beat BYU then, huh?
Yep. I think so.
And then BYU
Beats Houston.
See, mine's telling me though it'd still be Colorado and Arizona State. I don't know where I went wrong.
You didn't. What did I flip? I
Is
think
there something here that I'm trying to figure
I
out?
flipped something.
Does Arizona State need to lose to Arizona the following week? Probably still
No,
need
Arizona State
loss,
wins
right?
because Arizona State's was the 1 seed in mine. Colorado
sure.
beats Okie State. BYU beats Houston.
I just don't know where I'm going wrong here.
I don't know what you clicked. Gabe.
But I actually didn't really change anything except for.
I
Did
changed
I even change
something.
anything?
Arizona State has to win. Oh, you got to change Kansas over Colorado.
I think I did do that. Yeah.
You should have.
Oh. Okay. Arizona State BYU. There we go. That's what I had wrong. There we go. Okay. Yep. So cheer for Arizona State or cheer for Arizona State
State,
over BYU this weekend.
Baylor,
Cheer for, yes. Yep. Cheer for Baylor.
Kansas,
Kansas.
K-State, Tech.
At that point, yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's mainly just the Arizona State one and the Kansas one. Those are the two teams you're rooting for.
Yeah,
So
and of course the Cyclones.
and go Clones. You need the Clones to win. If that doesn't happen, none of this matters. So keep on winning, Clones. Well, anything else, Casey, on the Big 12 front? I mean, this weekend,
I
We
found
talked
a way
about
to
it
get
already.
TCU 5th. That would save my.
that's
bracket.
the highest. Well, I'm sure they could probably even get maybe higher than that if
Possibly
all
4th.
chaos occurs.
Who knows?
Isn't this website so much fun? You just mix.
That's
and match.
probably all I'll
It's
be
like a
doing
puzzle.
when I
Yeah,
get home.
It's totally mixed.
I'll
and
send you
match.
one where somehow TCU ends up first, and then
Get Arizona in there after bouncing back this weekend.
yeah, big bounce back for Arizona though. If we want to dive into the Big 12 slate,
I suppose we probably could. Yeah. So last weekend, like you mentioned, Arizona over Houston. Houston, found a way to beat K-State, but that was
took all their
Just
power,
stinky on
but
Friday,
we're
yeah.
proud of them. Good for them.
yeah, big win over K-State. Still a huge win.
Yeah.
Very thankful for Willie Fritz and his program. Colorado, like we talked about, dismantled Utah.
Colorado looks good, man.
They're hot.
Hunter's pushing up. I'd say he's second in the Heisman right now, behind GT.
I think,
And
I
it's
think
like
he
a
probably
handedly
is. Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
any other year
GT
he wins it,
Yeah,
right?
GT should definitely be the first right now. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like Shohei Ohtani in baseball. When you got a two-way guy like that, it's like, yeah, the Heisman isn't technically the MVP, but it is like the most valuable player, which is why they usually vote quarterbacks. But yeah, Ginty and then Travis Hunter for sure. Those are top two.
Definitely.
Dave Aranda rattling off 4 in a row here. Kind of gonna backdoor this season. Neil Brown.
What happened,
This guy's like toying with his fan base. He gets West Virginia in a spot where they're good again, and it's like, okay, this guy's got us back, and then he loses the big game, and it's like, oh, we're gonna fire him, and then he wins like 2 or 3 more in a row, and it's like, dude, it's a roller coaster of emotions every year for these West Virginia fans. I don't know how they put up with it.
Finding a way to keep his job at all costs.
He does. I don't.
Same with Aranda, dude.
Yeah,
Aranda's on a heater.
And that offense is insane right now.
Sawyer Robertson's good.
He's been a beast. He's been an absolute beast. They haven't scored less than 35 in a game since the Iowa State game on October 5th. And
maybe that just says something about us.
Maybe, yeah. Wow, that's really, really impressive. Good for Baylor. Arizona State over K-State. Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham in year 1. Man, what a fun story. I mean, the Big 12, I'm going to look up here really quick, Casey, the Big 12 football preseason poll, just so we can react to it and see where we're at now. So we're going to compare the two, all right?
Arizona State is just on fire right now. Love Kenny Dillingham, too. The youngest coach in college football. He plays with energy. He gets his guys going.
He's a walking quote as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how those young guys usually are. So, okay, I'm going to rattle this off really quick. Big 12 preseason poll. We also got to go back and look at what our preseason polls were back in the summer to figure out how close we were.
I think we do that once. Not next week, but the week after.
Maybe we just don't do that for our sake. But, I mean...
You put Okie State up high. That's your own fault.
I had Okie State high.
I had TCU.
TCU up there. We both had Utah at number 1. But to be fair, all these other national writers did. This is the problem with college football in 2024 and the way we do these polls. Is nobody has any idea, right? With the transfer portal, no one has any clue.
Next year is going to be a fun early preseason stuff from us. I feel like we're going to be so different because we're like, well, we don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, it's like solely for entertainment value these days because
especially
nobody
in the Big 12.
has any actual no one has any grasp on who's actually good. But preseason poll here. So we had Utah in first, K-State in second. Okie State in third, Kansas in fourth, Arizona in fifth.
Oof. I don't know why they were there in the first place.
No, we called that, right? We called that one big time. We said sell them right now. Sell high. Iowa State 6th, West Virginia 7th, UCF 8th, Tech 9th, TCU 10th, Colorado 11th, Baylor 12th, BYU 13th, Cincinnati 14th, Houston 15th, and Arizona State 16th, okay? So I know that's a lot.
Yeah.
Just try and keep in mind where we were at there. To read them off right now, from top to bottom, we go BYU in first, Colorado second, Arizona State third, Iowa State fourth, K-State fifth, Baylor sixth, TCU seventh, Texas Tech eighth, West Virginia 9th, Cincy 10th, Houston 11th, Kansas 12th, Arizona 13th, UCF 14th, Utah 15th, Oklahoma State 16th. So
the top 3 were 11th or lower in preseason polls.
And then 4 of the bottom 5 were top 5 preseason.
That's hilarious.
Crazy. That is insane.
This is why you love the Big 12.
What a great conference. Josh Pate called it, man. America's conference.
Yeah.
Right?
Unless you're from league. Utah University. Or Okie State. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole dumpster fire right now. But you can't. Can you fire Gundy?
No. Gundy's perfect in every way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
he's a man.
Give him another year.
He's 40. I think so too. They were in the Big 12 championship last year.
Yeah, you can't fire him off one bad year.
Definitely not.
I think if anyone's on the hot seat, it's Whittingham. And he's already so
announced
old.
He's going to retire before too long anyway.
Yeah,
so maybe
and I think that's why maybe
this year.
It's one of those situations where like they retire, but there was a meeting where everyone kind of sat down and went, "Hey, it's time for you to go."
Yeah.
Like we're not going to fire you, but
this new era is just tough for these old coaches, right? They don't know. That's why Nick Saban retired. That's why Coach K, Roy Williams, Jay Wright. That's why they're all hanging it up.
Like Virginia coach.
Yeah,
I'm blanking right now.
Tony
Bennett.
Tony Bennett. How do we both blank on that? That's crazy.
Well,
I got the first name, you got the second name.
That's what we're here for.
Last name. Yep. I mean, Bill Self really is like one of the lasting legacy guys
the
that's
last
still coaching,
bastion, dude.
And then Kirk Ferentz, maybe he'll get fired after this year.
Hopefully. One can hope.
Maybe Matt Rule as well. Our weekly Iowa Nebraska slander.
They have to win. That's the issue. When they play each other, one of them has to win somehow.
One of them has to.
And Nebraska doesn't know how to win.
If Nebraska doesn't win this weekend, next weekend, or the following weekend against Iowa is going to be their shot at
a bowl game.
Getting to a bowl game for the first time since 2016.
And what were they, 5-0?
5-1.
5-1.
They've rattled off 4 straight losses.
Maybe it's a program issue. Maybe it's not the coach's fault.
No.
How do you do that?
Listen, Nebraska guys, I feel bad. It's just tough. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
I would. I continually
I think it's
do
hilarious because I'll go on Nebraska Twitter and like they're already chalking up because Wisconsin, they just fired their OC, right? I think they're
still Luke Fickell.
They're on a second string quarterback. Iowa's Brendan Sullivan is out for the rest of the season. It was announced, and Nebraska fans are already chalking up both of those as losses because they know that historically in these spots for the last 10 years they always lose them.
Yeah.
When the odds are like entirely in their favor, they find a way to lose. Nebraska at home this weekend against a middling Wisconsin. Now they almost beat Oregon, so I shouldn't say middling, but a team that just fired its OC, second string quarterback. They've been very mediocre this year. But it's already
Still
a
Luke
loss
Fickell.
in their eyes, right? Yeah,
Still
exactly.
Luke Fickell,
Good coach.
It's a man who went to the college football playoff with Cincinnati, of all teams.
Yeah.
Before
What
they
a
were in the
beast.
Big 12.
Well, did you see Dana Holgerson's quote in his press conference today at Nebraska? He talked about how he told his receivers after game 1, he was like, man, you guys are pretty big guys, right? Like, it's embarrassing the way you're blocking out there.
Yeah.
That was kind of the quote I think I heard. But
Hilarious.
we'll see. Yep. Nebraska, Iowa. That's a night game actually on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
Friday
First night game I think ever between those two teams.
Ooh,
Should
that'll be a good one.
interesting. Yep.
Might have to find our way down to that.
In the old IC Kinnick Stadium to watch Iowa and Nebraska.
Oh, it's in Kinnick?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was in Lincoln last year. I guess I won't be finding my way down.
I think going
What a shame.
I think going to an Iowa Nebraska game in Kinnick Stadium would be perhaps
Just wear the Iowa
just
State
the worst.
gear and like
I'll just
cheer
show
for
up.
everything wrong to happen.
I'll show up with like a piece of cardboard taped to my chest that says 20-19 and just yell like Cal Conradi all over the place.
Yeah.
And then like find a way to trash Nebraska as well. Just do
I
a
hope
little bit of
both teams lose just
right.
on a T-shirt. It's the opposite of I hope both teams have fun.
Yep. It's the opposite of my mom's shirt.
Yeah.
Shout out. This week's slate, I mean,
It's all right.
you got 2 pretty good games, I think, with the Colorado-Kansas game and then BYU-Arizona State. I mean, Colorado-Kansas, those are probably the 2 hottest teams in the conference right now.
Yeah.
And then maybe throw Baylor into that mix too, with their 4 straight wins. But, yeah, again, Iowa State fans, you cheer for Kansas. 2.5 point spread, you gotta feel for that?
I mean, we're picking both those games, so do we just want to go right
Are
into
we?
picking those?
We probably
that's
can.
kinda
I
all
didn't
for
even
Big
check
12.
the slate. Yeah, we could probably do that.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the way, it's like it's games that don't matter and are
Yeah.
pretty bad too. So let's just do that then.
Let's start with the BYU-Arizona State game. 'Cause this game's got a lot of implications on a lot of different things. Both these teams can make the Big 12 championship. I mean, we just rattled off how Arizona State gets the number 1 overall seed in the Big 12. BYU, are they cooling off, Caleb?
What a story for both of these teams.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about how they were 15th and 16th, BYU, Arizona State, respectively, in the preseason standings, and that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Arizona State here. That's a fan base that really isn't very good, but I could see them getting up for this game at home.
Sold out.
Right? Is it really?
Yeah, they sold it out
That's
this
not a
morning.
surprise. They've seen so much bad football, bad college basketball for the most part too. They've had a couple good
They're bouncing
seasons,
back in
better
basketball.
than football for sure, but
Yeah.
just haven't been great at all for the last probably decade plus. This is a big spot for them, right? They haven't been in the spot in a long, long time in football. So I see them getting up for this game. I see Kenny Dillingham really rising to the occasion and getting his team in position to win. And I'm going to go with the Sun Devils here.
I'm going to rock with them, too. I think this is a perfect situation for Kenny Dillingham. You're at home, but you've got a sold-out crowd. You've got the energy behind your team. You bring that vibrant sort of coaching that a young team needs, that a young fan base really looks for. And they're trying to grasp onto something, and they can really grasp onto this football team right now. He's the guy to get a team going, to get a program going, to pick up the energy. That's what I love about this guy. BYU's on the back foot. I think their coaching staff will do a solid job of regrouping. Don't get me wrong, but I think Arizona State's they've got the bigger hand in this, and they're going to come out punching at the end of the day. I'm excited for this game. This should be a fun one. And then we'll just hop into the next Big 12 game. Colorado at KU. Caleb, start us off.
Man, here we go. Can Kansas find a way? Because, this is really a gauntlet that they've played, right? It started with K-State, Iowa State, where they got the win. At BYU, got the win. And then you host Colorado and then go to, again, a hot Baylor team. But, man, they've looked good. What a story. Lance Leipold, a lot of credit to that guy. To keep his guys engaged, albeit what a horrible start to the season, that's a really, really good look on him. And, you look across the conference to see guys like Mike Gundy and Kyle Whittingham, who clearly have not been able to keep their guys engaged, right, during bad seasons. So Leipold, what a testament to him and the work he's done. Colorado on the flip side, this team is also playing really, really good football right now. Remember at the beginning of the year we were talking about how it was like negative, quantifiable culture for the Buffaloes?
Hey, that's what I've been riding Colorado all year.
They have.
You can go back and look.
They have masterfully regrouped since that beginning of the year where they had that loss in Nebraska. That was a really, really bad loss in hindsight. But yeah, they've regrouped. Maybe they needed that for a little slap in the face. This is one of the hardest games I think I've picked. I'm going to go with Kansas here at home in Arrowhead. And I'm trying to make sure I don't do it because I'm cheering for them to win because, again, it's good for Iowa State to get into the Big 12 championship. And I really do think they're going to win this game. I do. So we'll go with the Jayhawks here. Casey, what do you think?
This is the toughest game. I'm taking my fanship out of this one for the first time because this is genuinely two teams I really like this year.
Colorado's one of your teams here.
I don't think I can pick against Colorado right now. I think Colorado is the better team. It doesn't matter how hot Kansas is. I think Kansas' issue is everything's been a one-score game for them. And Colorado, I feel like, is kind of under Sanders. They've kind of found a way to pull out these one-score games that you just don't expect them to do. They've got to go on their own. I really want to pick Kansas, but part of my mind is saying you just can't pick against Colorado right
Sure.
And I think that's kind of how things are going to go. So I'm gonna pick Colorado. I will be cheering for Kansas, but got to find a way to come back on that deficit against Caleb right now somehow. So
that's very valid. Very valid.
We got two more football games. We'll kind of pick up the pace on these. Starting with number 5, Indiana, number 2, Ohio State. Kind of mentioned it earlier. It's really Indiana's chance to make the college football playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. This game is super exciting. I can't wait to watch it. I believe it's big noon kickoff, right? College game is there too. It's all of the, pulling out all the stops. It's game of the week. I am going to go with Ohio State here. I think, like Indiana, what a fun story it's been. Kurt Cignetti in year 1, what he's done with this team. Their first 10-win season of all time. They're 10-0 right now. The way they've just dismantled opponents. However, I haven't seen them beat anybody good, right? They haven't. Their schedule has been really, really easy for the most part. I'll give them credit. They've taken care of business, right? They haven't really been in any close games. The Michigan game was kind of close at home, but other than that, they've steamrolled everybody. Ohio State, though, I think it comes to an end in the horseshoe. I just think that team has so much talent. They're so talented across the board. I don't know if Indiana's ready to play a team like this, and I think the dream season comes to an end on Saturday in Columbus for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I've been comparing this game a lot personally to 2018 Loyola Chicago. That's kind of the feel it's got to it.
Yeah, that's a great comparison, actually.
You've got a huge run going, and, everyone's behind you. The city's kind of behind you. Everyone's ready to go. You've got a lot of the neutral fans excited for you. Then you just play a big team, and it's as much as you want to compete and as much support as you get, you're just the lower hand sometimes. So I'm going to give it to Ohio State as well. And then Caleb, your Army Knights, 14th, going to number 8 Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got some sick new alternates for that game. But how are we feeling, and what are your picks going into this game?
Well, here's the thing, Casey. This is interestingly enough, if you're a Big 12 fan, You honestly, this is like, we're not going to spend too much time talking about this because it's just a whole separate conversation. If you're a Big 12 fan in general, and again, that includes Iowa State fans. For those of you who don't know, Iowa State's in the Big 12. You actually want Notre Dame to win this game because there is a chance that if Army is undefeated, Boise State's still a one-loss team, and then you have the other 3 Power 4 conferences, ACC, Big 10, SEC. There's a chance that something just happened with our
mics got better.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Randomly.
I don't know what just happened.
Or at least yours did. I think mine's the same.
I don't know what just happened at all. Let's go. Happy for that. There is a chance that the committee would say, all right, the Big 12 champion is not an automatic qualifier, right? Because you're basically taking the 5 best conference champions. And in their eyes, if Army's undefeated,
if it's Arizona State, Iowa State with 2 losses,
right? You never know. So if you're a Big 12 fan, you honestly want to cheer for Notre Dame in this game.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame is the better team here. It's in South Bend. But I'm going to go with the Casey route and take my fandom to the grave here.
There it is.
And go with the Army Black Knights. Casey's happy here. He's trying to get the one game. Because what are our records here overall? I'm 34-36. You're 33-37.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, still razor-thin margin. I'm going to stand with Jeff Munkin here and Bryson Daly in the triple option, and we'll see if the boys show up on Saturday.
I love it.
I really don't think it's a great chance, but I'm going to pick them regardless.
I love the energy. Hey, sometimes you got to be a homer at the end of the day and see what happens. But I'm going to pick Notre Dame. Better team. You know, they've been in this situation against Navy, and we saw what happened. I'm kind of going to base it off that.
Yeah, both of the 2 good service schools this year.
Yeah.
Air Force,
very good.
Meanwhile.
Can't wait for that game.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We were talking about uniforms off the air before this.
We were.
Good. Army already unveiled their
beautiful
unis for that game.
The 101st
Heat.
And the Battle of Bastogne.
Yep.
Battle
Shout out Nick Detterman used to design those things, or used to be the football equipment manager for Army. Yes. Shout out Nick.
Running low on time. Let's hop right into this. Starting in about 5 minutes, Purdue Marquette college basketball. Caleb, how do we feel about this? Purdue gets the win over Alabama. Marquette looking to solidify themselves under Shaka this year.
Yeah, you and I both had Alabama winning that game at Mackey Arena. And yeah, Purdue with the win. That was surprising, but good on them. Matt Painter, Death Taxes Matt Painter, right? As our pal John Rothstein would say. Big one for Iowa State fans. Monitor this one. Marquette comes to town in a couple weeks here to play at Hilton Coliseum, so this is interesting. I'll go with shock at home here. I don't think Purdue rattles off 2 good wins in a row. I just don't think I'm still not a huge believer in them yet. If they win this one on the road against a good Marquette team, then my opinion will change. But I think, they got that Mackey. It is Mackey Arena, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Mackey Arena benefit against Alabama at home. I don't think they win the road one here.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I love Shaka. Brings a lot of energy. Cam Jones is taking over as the lead of this team. He's doing a really good job solidifying himself. But I've never been big on Purdue. I've never been big on Big Ten basketball. And once again, I'm going to fade the Big Ten and go with Marquette.
And this year especially, man, it's going to be could be an abysmal conference. Iowa could win it.
Yeah. How about this ranked matchup, though? Number 13, Baylor. Number 22, St. John's. Rick Pitino getting them into the rankings for, I couldn't even tell you the last time St. John's was ranked. He's building the program up there. Just beat the crap out of his son's team, too. So what do you got?
Yeah. Good for St. John's. This is a fun little Big 12, Big East matchup. I'm going to take Scott Drew and the Bears here. I think that they are bouncing back after that really embarrassing loss to Gonzaga back in week 1 of the college basketball season. I think this is a good spot for them to continue to right the wrongs from that game and prove that they are still, a top 15 team nationally. And that game against Gonzaga, they can put that in the rearview mirror and really, cast it out to the wind and just continue to improve and be the team that we kind of expect them to be this year. So I'll go with the Bears.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Baylor as well. I think that loss actually did less of me fading Gonzaga and fading Baylor and going away, and more of Gonzaga's a real deal once again, and kind of statement victory for them. So I'm going to stick with Baylor. Never been big on St. John's. Pitino since leaving Louisville, just not a big fan of.
I'm glad you bring that up, Casey, because I think as a sports society in general, we need to do a better job of not overreacting to teams losing games and more so like, oh, the team that won, maybe they're good, right?
Yeah.
You know, to dumb it down. There's way too much of, oh, this team stinks because they lost to a team they were better than in the preseason rankings, right? Oh, maybe that team's just good.
Yeah,
definitely. Baylor's still good too. Both things can be true.
Throwing a fun one out there. Friday, the battle for Nebraska. Nebraska goes to Creighton. I believe they play each other twice, home and home. Not certain on that, but I feel like they are home and home now. But at the end of the day, coming to Omaha, we'll be at that game. Cannot wait. Are you Team Blue or Team Red? This is the back home rivalry, Caleb. Who are you going to pick?
Creighton here. I'm Creighton. Nebraska won this one a couple years ago, right?
Unfortunately,
in Omaha,
2 years ago would have been our senior year.
Yeah.
I brought Chase Rude to that game.
Yeah, I remember Chase took that picture.
I took that picture of Chase.
Sure. That was you taking the picture of him?
Yeah,
that was
he still holds that over my head. But
even though Creighton's won probably
every other
matchup in the last 20.
Yeah.
Creighton here, no doubt in my mind. Nebraska kind of struggling so far this year. I mean, they're 3-1 right now, but they haven't. They had the loss to St. Mary's, and they haven't beaten the bad teams really by much at all. So I'll go with the Blue Jays.
And then our last pick'ems to round it out. Number 12, Duke goes to number 17, Arizona, who just got shockered from Omaha native John Tanji, dropping 41.
Yeah, we were together on Friday night watching the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, which, by the way, worst production of all time. Thanks, Netflix. And also just a bad fight too. We should have known better. But meanwhile, we were sitting there just trying to scramble and figure out who is this Tanji guy who's putting up 40 on Arizona and Tommy Lloyd right now. What the heck is going on? Little did we know at the time.
Omaha native.
We know now. Omaha native.
Omaha Central, I believe I said.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
We'll hustle up here. I'll go Arizona here at home. Duke also coming off of a loss to Kentucky at home, where they fell at the Cameron Indoor Stadium. I'll go with the bounce back. Two teams needed a bounce back victory. I'll go the home team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Arizona as well. Love Tommy Lloyd. I think this team is just better than the Duke team overall.
Sounds good. Yep, we'll wrap this up here quick. Let's do a quick 3 for 3. How about it?
Do it.
I'll let you go first.
Do you just want me to get my 3 in a row?
Sure, let's do that.
Number 3, Taysom Hill, elite game. Everything he did happens once a year. Had to go for it. Number 2, Oregon's guard, women's basketball, Deja Kelly. Nearly records a triple-double, turns around, and was the courtside reporter for the men's game later in the day. And then at number 1, Louisiana Lafayette senior Sienna DeCambra tears her ACL early in the volleyball season, unable to play. She gets put in senior night to serve match point in a 3-1 upset over Georgia Southern and aces it to win the game.
Great stuff, Casey. Again, we're running through this here because we got to get out of the studio here quickly. We got some people coming after us. But my number 3, Iowa State running backs in the NFL this weekend. David Montgomery, Breece Hall combined for 4 touchdowns between the two of them. That was sweet. Number 2, the Mississippi Valley State men's basketball team replied to a SportsCenter tweet about how Missouri beat them by 72 points, and they said, we got our bag because they've gone through the gauntlet but made a lot of money.
Follow them now.
Via playing some good teams. Yep, great admin. And then number 1, Kent State football led for the first time this year in a game and then lost 34-7. So they took the lead. First time they led this year, lost 34-7, have now lost 19 consecutive games. And then again, the not 3 for 3, Netflix. Shame on you. All right, he's Casey Schiessler. My name's Caleb Polkin. Thank you all for tuning in. Sorry for the quick wrap-up. We'll see you guys next week.